What's going on, everyone? Connor here from the Diamond, and the day is finally here. It is finally opening day in the year of our Lord 2020, and I could not be any more excited. Many people, myself included, thought this day was never going to come, but here we are, masks and all. Now, there's going to be a lot of storylines to look out for over the course of this season, and a lot of changes coming to the game that both fans and players need to prepare for. So today, I thought I'd talk about some of the most important things that you should be keeping an eye on over the course of this season. Now, before we get started, I do want to let you know that if you haven't already seen them yet, I published my predictions for this season earlier this week on our website. The links to those articles are in the description below, and as always, you can see all of our articles on our website, readthediamond.com. Now, on with the video.
There's a long one down the right side. That ball has home run distance and then some. Wow, that's some power from McKay. McKay belting his first home run. How about that in a pinch hit roll?
First off, let's talk about some of the big prospects that are going to be making a big impact on their teams this season. With the 60-game schedule, player opt-outs, expanded rosters, and the short time that players had to actually prepare for this year, it makes sense that a lot of big names are going to be getting their first cup of coffee in the big leagues this year. Now, I'm probably going to be making a separate video talking about some of the prospects that I'm looking forward to the most, but for now, here are some of the names that you should be on the lookout for at the start of the 2020 season. First, Joey Bart with the San Francisco Giants. This kid is the top prospect in the entire Giants organization, and with Buster Posey opting out of the 2020 season, expect this catcher to get some meaningful at-bats toward the end of the year this year. Second, Joe Adell with the Los Angeles Angels. This is a guy being hyped up as the face of the Angels franchise moving forward, and he has the chops to prove it. Being able to see him and Mike Trout in the same outfield for the first time this season is going to be incredibly fun to watch. Third, I'm looking at Nate Pearson with the Toronto Blue Jays. This kid is one of the most hyped pitching prospects that I have seen in years, and he is an absolute fireballer, consistently throwing in triple digits, and he's going to be so fun to watch when he gets up to the big league level. Next, I'm looking at Brendan McKay with the Tampa Bay Rays. When Shohei Ohtani first came to the major leagues, he set off a trend of teams trying to find the next great two-way player, and the Rays might have one in Brendan McKay. He's an excellent left-handed arm and an excellent bat that could easily play both ways for an entire season. Lastly, I'm looking at Gavin Lux with the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is a guy that everybody is saying is going to be a shoo-in for NL Rookie of the Year this year, and even though he's not going to start the season on the Dodgers roster, best believe when he finally gets there, he is going to be raking. Those are just some of the names that I'm looking at, but if there are any prospects that you're looking forward to seeing over the course of the 2020 season that you think I should talk about in my prospects video, please feel free to put those suggestions in the comment section below.
I was sitting there in the stands watching minor league games. I was rooting for extra innings because it was so exciting. And you get to see all this strategy happen in one inning. You know you're not going to be there all night. You have a pretty good idea when it's going to end. I think the fans are going to love it. I think it's a great rule. And hopefully it'll be a success and we can stay with it.
Yeah. Is it? I don't know. I'm glad he's sold. John
feel
Hammond,
the cynicism.
Mike Petriello, Adnan Verk back with us now. Is it? Go ahead.
Now let's talk about some of the new rules that are going to be coming into play this season, all of which are going to completely change the way that managers go about their jobs. First, the 3-batter minimum rule is going to have a huge effect on how relievers are going to get used from now on. No longer are the days of the lefty specialist and the one-out guy. Instead, we're going to get completely new strategies for how to use the bullpen effectively, and it's going to be really interesting to see how managers go about this restriction and use their bullpens in the most effective way possible. Second, National League managers are now going to have to work with the designated hitter for the first time ever. I'll be putting out another video on this topic soon, but what I'm interested in here is how managers are going to use that spot in their lineups. Now, if I had to guess, I'd imagine that some teams would be using some of their older stars in that spot to try and get them some more at-bats and try to get better production from them through the end of the season. And I think some other teams would probably try to platoon that role to get a better matchup with whatever pitcher they're facing that day. But one thing's for certain, I'm really interested to see what kind of strategies that managers are going to try and put out here and whether or not they'll try something different with the designated hitter strategies. Last, but certainly not least, we have the new extra innings rules, which have been the subject of massive criticism across the baseball community. Now, starting in the 10th inning, each team is going to have a runner on second to start their inning. And regardless of whether you hate it or not, and let's be honest, you probably hate it, it's going to be really interesting to see how this affects managers' strategies in tie ball games. For example, if the Giants have Billy Hamilton up to bat with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, do they have him intentionally strike out so that he can run in the next inning? Or do teams keep a guy purposely on the bench so that they can use him in exactly that situation? More importantly, what happens if this rule is what decides a division race or, God forbid, the World Series? I'm not sure what the reaction would be if something like that happened, but based on the blowback the rule got just by itself, I can only assume that it really wouldn't be good.
Just sent the Astros to the World Series!
Next, let's talk about the Astros. Unless you've been living under a rock the past 8 months, you know that the Astros were caught doing some shady stuff in 2017, and they got hit hard by Major League Baseball. But because of the long off season, we have yet to see how the other teams are going to respond on the field. And I'm curious to see what the reaction is going to be. How many beanballs are going to be thrown at Altuve, Bregman, and Springer? Are the PA announcers going to pipe in booing noises over the loudspeaker when Houston comes to town? What happens if they end up winning the whole dang thing this year? Regardless of whether you love the Astros or you're a part of the Asterisk Brigade, there's no denying that this is going to be one of the absolute biggest storylines of the year.
Some butterflies going on inside that body for Josiah. Mookie Betts hits one deep to left field, and that ball is gone. Mookie Betts hits one into the bullpen. It's a 2-0 fastball and puts the home team on the board.
Speaking of really strong teams, I think the 2 teams that I'm paying the most attention to this year are the Yankees and the Dodgers. In my opinion, they have the 2 most talented teams in baseball, and it really isn't close with the exception of maybe the Astros. But that being said, both of these teams have a huge amount of expectations on their shoulders. For the Dodgers, this is absolutely a make or break season. They were able to get Mookie Betts locked up for the long term, but many of their other key players are going to be free agents after this season, and they have a lot of pressure to finally win a ring after getting a second MVP winner and after losing at the last second for 4 straight seasons. For the Yankees, the expectations come from the fact that they finally have a healthy core of players. For the first time, we're going to see a lineup with Judge, Stanton, Glaber, and Gary Sanchez, all at full strength, all at the same time. Will either of these teams be able to buck the weight of expectation and actually break through this season? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure, these are going to be some incredibly fun teams to watch.
Tim crushes this ball. He throws the bat, the ball goes flying, it is gone! 2-0 Sox. The ball was majestic, the bat was a javelin, and the Sox lead.
Finally, while the Dodgers, Astros, and Yankees have gotten the most playoff buzz, and for good reason, it's important to note that there are a ton of sleeper teams this year that could potentially shock the world, and the small sample size of games this year might be able to help them do it. For example, the White Sox added a ton of talent in free agency this season. They have Tim Anderson and Yoan Moncada coming off of breakout years, and they have Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert ready to tear up the big leagues full time. Meanwhile, the Reds added a lot to their team, bringing in Nick Castellanos, Mike Moustakas, Sonny Gray, and Japanese star Shogo Akiyama to round out an already talented squad. Also, don't sleep on the Diamondbacks this year. Robbie Ray has been looking great throughout the preseason. They've added a ton of depth to both their outfield and their rotation, and the 1-2 punch of Ketel Marte and Eduardo Escobar has become a real force for this team. Realistically, I could see any of these teams sneaking into a playoff spot this year, along with a bunch of others. In the National League alone, there are at least 11 teams with a legitimate shot of making the playoffs, which is insane. It's really anyone's game in this 60-game season, and that's going to be really fun for fans and a good thing for baseball. So with that being said, those are just a few of the things that I'm going to be keeping an eye out for over the course of this short season, but I'm also interested in what you think. What kind of things are you guys going to be watching out for? Let me know in the comment section down below. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. It really helps us grow the channel. And if you're in the mood for more baseball content, go on over and check us out on our website, readthediamond.com, or follow us on social media at TheDiamondUS. More videos are going to be on the way soon, but until then, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.